Look at how pretty this tree is. Sheesh. Welcome back, guys. Today I want to take a look at that. But first, if you haven't, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. So last week, we actually didn't even show this part in the video, but we laminated 2 pieces of Kusa. So 1, 2, and we used epoxy resin with a piece of fiberglass in between that. So now that we clamped it all down, put a little extra weight on it with some cinder blocks, and let it cure for about a week, we have a solid piece of Kusa. So let's just take these clamps off. Actually, first, go take a look at the pieces of Kusa that we did inside the boat itself, which we attached using these spack screws. There those are. And I'll jump in the boat in a minute, but that's looking pretty solid in there. I was actually worried. There's screws sticking out the back. I wonder how it affected the back of the tent here. Oh, actually looks okay. We'll be taking those screws out today as well. That should be good to go. And for those of you that had a hard time watching me use the 1/2-inch brush, today we got a 3-inch brush. Should do a lot better. This is pretty expensive, so I'm going to try to clean this one. This is 15 bucks for this thing. Probably didn't have to get that fancy of a one, but that'll do. So my concern right now is that there's a little bit of resin that leaked out on the table. We'll see if we can even pull this thing up. Uh-oh. Ow. Oh, no. No. Oh, no. And it's super sharp. Got some demolition tools. We're going to try to take this off. Easy peasy. Look at that. So this is one giant piece of laminated Kusa. But this isn't its finished form. We still have to cut the arch at the bottom and then mount it into the boat, which I think I'm going to use the cleaner side to do that. And then this side will be facing into the boat. That way I can clean it up post. All right, let's jump in the boat and get the screws out of those pieces of Kusa. I don't know if I had mentioned this before, but we did actually end up getting different types of gloves. We got the latex gloves because one of you guys commented and said latex is a little bit better for laminating or working with resin because it doesn't eat away or get stuck to it as much as it does with the nitrile gloves. So I got that. I also got some more resin, some more polyester, and some more hardener as well. And I got this from Hamilton Marine, so shout out to them. These are a little strips, so hopefully we'll be able to get them out here. No problem at all. Oh, she's stuck on it. That's good. Okay, those spack screws got some holding power, but as you can see, screws are out and Kusa board staying in. So what our next step's going to be is laying tons of fiberglass over top this and overlapping with the top and the bottom and the sides to hold this piece in place. Now since I'm working alone today, I'm not sure I'm going to attempt to cut the Kusa for the main part of the transom. Might wait for Jake for that in order to be able to hold it in place and screw it down. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have enough of the woven fiberglass to cover over the parts of the transom that we do have attached. So what I'm going to do today is focus on filling in the holes that the screws made. So what I've done is gone over with painter's tape, and I've kind of made these little bowls. And the reason why I didn't just lay it flat is because I'm going to inject from inside the boat a mix of silica and resin, and it's going to come out here. But if I had put the painter's tape flat, no air would be able to come out. This way, the painter's tape allows air to come out and allows resin to completely fill these holes. But my theory with that is not only is it, filling the holes, but the screws actually kind of added like it'll create basically a rod through the Kusa, the new fiberglass, and the old fiberglass. So it's kind of like these pins going directly into the old fiberglass. And I actually think that might be better than not having them there. So, I don't know, maybe new technique, who knows? I'm trying it out. But yeah, so I got the painter's tape. Now I gotta go mix up some silica and some resin, and we're going to inject it in there using one of the little syringes that I have. So like I said, I was going to use poly resin, but I've decided to use the Total Boat epoxy and mix it with the West Systems 406 colloidal silica adhesive filler. It says a thickening additive mixed with epoxy. So this should do. And this is the syringe I'll be using. We're first going to mix the epoxy and hardener. And once that's good and mixed, we're going to add in our silica. Definitely wear a mask when using this stuff. That's full, and this weighs like a half a pound. It's crazy. But that stuff gets in the air and it's not good for you. I probably added too much, but we're going to mix this until it's fully mixed together. It's nice and thick, and we're just going to mix it till it's nice and smooth. We're definitely going to do a test squeeze and see if the resin comes out the back side. That's pretty runny. I hope that this will be able to get sucked up into the syringe and go in the holes. So it actually did get soaked up into the syringe. So now we're going to try to inject it into these holes. Well, it's working. So that went fairly well. Probably mixed a little bit too much epoxy, but not crazy amounts, too much more. It worked out so well that I'll show you. The epoxy came right out the holes and went up the top hole of the tape and splooged right onto my tent. As you can see, there's a little bit of epoxy on there, but I took the tape off, and as you can see, those are all patched up. Once it cures, I'll be able to come back here and sand down this back part and re-gel coat it. Same thing with over here. Actually, I don't need to sand that down, but I tried to fill the holes because we sunk the screws in a little bit. I tried to fill those holes flat with epoxy, and I did that on both of them. So that's hole free now. By the way, having a table set up like this, your resins and stuff, your fillers, having that all on a nice little table, it's a clutch move. Clutch move. All right, it's been a minute, but we're back here. Today we're gonna try to cut the main section of the transom and install it. So obviously we're working on the engine kind of in parallel with this, but once the engine's done, it needs to get put in the boat because we need to hook up the outdrives and get that all tested. If we're still trying to aim for the 4th of July goal, we have 1 month. Fiberglass is like a needle. So what we need to do is trace out the transom shape, which Jake templated with that cardboard. Shout out to Alexa for the jigsaw. We'll use that jigsaw to cut the shape out. So we're cutting this bottom part. We want like a little bit on the top. Okay, Sharpie. Sharpie.
Epoxy is wicked strong.
Right?
I like can't even bend it with my like meat hands, dude. Thing's a ripper, dude.
All right, Jay, how's it looking?
Looks pretty good.
Huh?
What do you think?
Yeah, dude.
Maybe take this down a little bit right here. That's where it's touching, you know?
Yeah, take that down a little bit. All the bolt holes are well within the Kusa, right?
Yeah.
Alright, good. That's what matters, really. Alright, we made some adjustments, and now we're gonna test fit it again. Well, that's much better.
I think so too. You know, it's my turn to keep track of them.
So we're using 17-ounce mat, one side woven and one side kind of like a chop strand looking thing. So it's 1708 is what they typically call it. Then what we're probably going to do, because I don't like wetting it down on this, because it's really just a terrible piece of board at this point, I think we're going to probably just really soak this, lay that on top, and then just soak the top. And we're going to be using polyester resin for this.
I really like the pump system of the epoxy.
Me too.
Your arm looks gigantic. Forced perspective here, dude. Oh, look at that thing, dude. Are you kidding me?
all that editing.
Is that what you call
It's
it?
getting green pretty quick. Might went too hard on the hardener, but chill, exothermic reaction, chill. I hope everybody's happy about this expensive, larger brush.
How did you find a $15 paintbrush?
You'd be surprised what Home Depot charges these days. You really want to get the resin in, because this thing needs to stick. We're going to totally cover it and see if there's any dry spots. Now that it's completely coated, we're going to add more. And this will be the soaking, so this will be the excess that's left. And we'll place the mat on top of this. I'm acting like I know what I'm doing today.
It's a good look.
Yeah.
It's doing a pretty good job of soaking that up, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of concerning. So there's going to be a lot more overhang down here than up there. Oh boy.
A little hot.
She's camera already.
I know.
This is about to be one chaotic flip.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're gonna be fine. Alright, we're gonna pull this mat back. Here, I'll hold it up. Technique? Huh?
The flopping salmon.
See, what we're doing right now is we're making a shell, a platform that we can do anything with. Anything.
Just get like a 1J.
Build the bones good, and you can just keep putting whatever you want in it for as long as you want. Oh, no.
The paint.
Uh-oh, what's happening up there?
So we just pre-soaked our first side piece of the transom.
It's not a side piece, it's our main, okay?
Alright, our main transom side piece thing.
It's more than a side piece.
So we're going to put 3 layers of fiberglass, similar to what we did on the patches on these guys. We got them cut already. We're doing the pre-soak and apply process now. We're ripping through resin at a rate unbefore seen on the channel.
Now, what are we at? 3 pots?
Yeah. Or 4?
4 pots?
Well, I think one of them, the last of the other resin, wasn't really like a full one.
Might be too much of an angle here, but let's see.
Is that where the taper would come into play?
Yeah. Like if we had cut smaller strands and like laid it on top.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we break the glass a little bit, it'll do what we tell it to do. This isn't going as planned. Too much of an angle.
Alright guys, so we ran into a bit of a problem here with laying our fiberglass over these side pieces here. So the fiberglass isn't making this 90-degree bend as nicely as we'd like. It's not adhering. So we're going to try to make up the gap with...
Alright, so we got this stuff here which we're trying to mix together as best we can. And this is just polyester resin and silica. And so we're just going to put it up there like that, and we're going to see if we can make this more of a 45-degree angle. Now this is a professional technique. Honestly though, we probably should have cut a bevel into the Kusa, but that's okay. I think this might work. It's looking pretty good actually.
It does actually. It doesn't seem to be flowing too much too. We might be able to get away with doing it on the bottom too.
Doesn't need to be perfect. This is literally just so we can lay fiberglass relatively flat to it.
Alright, I'm like really surprised at how well that's actually performing.
I know.
I thought for sure we'd be hanging our heads in defeat.
I always thought the fiberglassing would be the suckiest part, but so far it hasn't been too bad. The grinding sucks, but like the fiberglassing,
It seems relatively forgiving.
yeah. Fiberglassing is something that if you want to be efficient with it, it takes a lot of planning. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe, please. That's going to be the transom pretty much as far as Kusa goes. Next, we just got to, mix up some more of that silica added resin to flatten out those edges. We really should have put a bezel on it when we were cutting the Kusa, like a 45 degree. That way we could have laid the Kusa or laid the fiberglass on top of the Kusa a little bit easier. We got to fiberglass those in. Gonna do the same thing with the centerpiece of Kusa, the screw holes on the centerpiece of Kusa as I did on the side pieces. And then we're gonna be working on the stringers. We gotta put the stringers in, and I'm a little bit nervous with that because we really need to make sure that those are cut exactly the same and are plumb and level and all that. So we also have to take into consideration the gas tank. It's going to be a strong transom. We could also, I've seen some people completely plug up the back hole so that you can lay the Kusa completely flat, but I didn't see that as necessary. We checked out the back and took the tape off that we added, and it seems to be flush pretty much completely around. So I think the screw method worked. One thing we should do though, if you guys are going to use the screw method, look into drilling pilot holes, because when we're screwing it in, it pushes the Kusa out a little bit and then sucks it in. And we were actually going in about 1/4 of an inch into the Kusa, so I would recommend some washers to try to distribute that weight and really pull it down. All right, guys, see you next time. I'm down on the frame.